Hello, welcome to our new Nintendo podcast. Your hosts for today are myself, Greg, and Alex.
Today we're going to go through and talk about our top 5 Nintendo games. We have discussed between us on which games should go in our top 5, and here is what we've got. Keep in mind this is in no particular order. We're going to talk about is Super Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros. Brawl is a fighting game released for the Wii in 2008. Like a lot of fighting games, it doesn't rely on the health system to knock out your opponent. Instead, you defeat your opponent by knocking them off the side of the screen or make them fall down in the hole into the abyss. Also, unlike the average fighting game, you get to play the game with 4 players simultaneously, whereas a lot of fighting games require one-on-one combat. As you can see, you can kill your opponents by attacking them until they are vulnerable enough to be easy to knock off the screen. You can tell this by looking at the percentage symbol at the bottom of the screen. The higher the percentage symbol is, the more vulnerable they would be to getting easily knocked off the screen. Be careful though, this also applies to you as the player. Other than just attacking opponents by hand, you can also attack your opponents by using many different objects that randomly spawn throughout the match. What these objects do is depend on the objects. There is sometimes a bomb object that you can throw at an opponent to knock them off the screen. One of my personal favourite objects in the game is the Pokeball, because when you throw one, a random Pokemon comes out and attacks your opponents for you. I like this because you would never know which Pokemon would appear and how much damage can be done, which can sometimes be extremely chaotic. Now let's talk about what makes this game different to Super Smash Bros. Brawl. First thing is the game has a proper story mode in which the previous Smash Bros. Games lacked. There was an adventure mode on the previous Smash Bros. Games, but they only took about half an hour to complete, whereas the story mode for Smash Bros. Brawl would take a good couple of hours to complete. What I think is very good about the story mode is that it behaves very much like a 3D side-scrolling platform game, alongside fighting game elements when you fight matches with other characters. Another good thing about this game is that it has a good selection of new characters and you have a massive choice of characters to choose from. It may not seem a lot at first, but one of the main goals in the game is to unlock different characters, alongside trophies, stages, music tracks and stickers. How you unlock them varies depending on what you're trying to unlock. It will be down to completing the story mode as a particular character to unlock something. There are many new characters added to the game, such as Meta Knight, Lucario, Rob, and even non-Nintendo characters such as Sonic the Hedgehog, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid. What's great about this game is it's got plenty of multiplayer options on the rules of the matches, such as how long the matches last or how many lives the characters have. One minor gripe I have on this game is that the controls are harder to get used to compared to Smash Bros. Melee, but that's merely because I spent a long time playing Melee before Brawl was released. Overall, this game is also going to give you plenty of playtime because alongside the story mode you will also be busy trying to unlock all the secrets in the game, in which there is hundreds of them. It's also plenty of fun to play multiplayer. The game we're going to talk about is Pokemon Crystal. Pokemon Crystal is an RPG game released exclusively for the Game Boy Color in 2001 by Game Freak. What this game is about is you start off as a young kid, and whether it is male or female depends on what you select. You leave your home to pick up your first Pokemon from Professor Elm's lab. You have a choice to pick one of 3 Pokemon that are available to you. These are Chikorita, Cyndaquil and Totodile. There isn't really any right or wrong choices on which one you pick. Once you have selected your first Pokemon, it is time to go out into the wildlife and battle wild Pokemon to make your starter stronger. One of the main goals of this game is to capture as many different Pokemon as you can, and it's something that you can't do at the beginning until you complete a job for Professor Elm. But once you complete his job, then you're free to do whatever you want. You can capture many different Pokemon, train them, battle other trainers, and prepare yourself for battling gym leaders. What gym leaders are is that they are Pokemon trainers that you can find in these buildings called gyms. What's different about them compared to other trainers is that they are stronger than the average trainer you come across, and they also tend to have better Pokemon. Gym leaders are not difficult to beat for the people that are more experienced in this game, but they can provide a good challenge for the people playing the game for the first time without being too difficult. The point of these gym leaders is that you must defeat 8 of them to gain access to the Elite Four. who are a lot stronger than gym leaders and can provide a good challenge for even the more experienced players. So a Pokemon would need to be well trained and you would need to be prepared for when you face them. What makes Pokemon Crystal different from many other games is that once you defeat the Elite Four, you can then travel to a whole new region where you can face another 8 gym leaders. This is very good because even with a lot of the later Pokemon games, you would defeat 8 gym leaders and the Elite Four and there wouldn't be any further regions to go to. This would mean you would get a higher amount of playtime than the other games. There isn't really any villains in this game except for Team Rocket, who are an evil organisation. However, they behave very much like all the other trainers in the game and pose no threat, and they are very easy to defeat. The only other bad guy, if you would call him that, is your rival, who you can name whatever you want. He's like a trainer that you encounter occasionally in the game, and he battles you to try and prove he's stronger. He is more difficult than the average trainer and can also sometimes be hard to defeat if you're not prepared for him. One small criticism I have for this game are the Pokemon the trainers use aren't very varied, and what I mean by that is a lot of trainers use the same handful of Pokemon most of the time. An example is you may be battling through a bunch of Team Rocket and the only Pokemon they may have are Zubat, and you end up constantly battling Zubat. With there being 251 Pokemon in this game, you would think trainers would use more kinds of Pokemon. This game overall is a very good RPG game. This game I'm going to talk to you about is Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing is a life simulation game released for the GameCube in 2004 for Europe. What this game is about is you start off as a character whose appearance is randomly generated and you can name him or her how you want. What you basically do with this character is to live your in-game life, however you want to. Time and days pass by the same way they do in real life, and it will affect what happens and what you do in the game. You will start off the game by choosing your house in your new hometown. Unfortunately, you don't have enough bells, which is the in-game currency, and you won't be able to pay off for the house straight away. What you have to do for the meantime is you have to work for Tom Nook, who is the talking raccoon that sells you the house, to pay off some of your debt. What this usually implies are you to deliver different packages to your animal neighbours. You can't just deal these packages, unfortunately. Once you've finished doing your jobs, then you are pretty much free to do whatever you want in the game. But you still have to pay off the mortgage, but there isn't a time limit. You can do what you want now, whether it's talk to and annoy your neighbours, dig for some treasure, go fishing or book catching, decorating your house, or you could go perform some different jobs for different animals to earn yourself some furniture or more bells. What's very great and interesting about this game is, as previously mentioned, time and days pass like they do in real life, and this even applies to dates, months and years. One other big feature of this game is that everything is pretty much randomly generated, because the layout of your town will be completely random for each new game you play, which means the locations of all the buildings in your town will be completely random. Not only is the location of the buildings in the game is random, but all your animal neighbours will be completely random, and it's rarely the same animal, so you'll never know who you'll end up with when you first start. It's also random when they decide to leave your town and for the new ones to arrive. This means they all come and go. You've got a lot of things to do while playing this game. You can go into Tom Nook's shop every day to check which items are in stock, but bear in mind that items change every day and which items become available are completely random. You can use tools you purchase from the shop to maintain your town to make it look nice, or horrible if you really wanted to and annoy your neighbours, by digging, chopping down trees, and planting flowers. When you're doing this, it would be a good idea to have an idea of what you want your town to look like. If you're bored of maintaining your town and catching bugs and fishes, you can decorate your house with the furniture you purchased from the shop and make it how you want to work. You can get ideas by looking in your neighbour's house to give you some inspiration. Another thing you can do is to keep an eye in your diary for events that will take place in your town. There could be events such as the fish catching competition, and the game also celebrates holidays such as Christmas and Halloween the same time we do in real life. That's assuming the time and date in the game is correct.
This game is Mario Kart Double Dash. We played the Nintendo GameCube version and played it on the Nintendo Wii. We played it with the GameCube controllers too, as you can insert them into the top of the console. The aim of Mario Kart Double Dash is to beat your opponents, to win races. There are 4 races in each set, and there are objects which come in handy for the game. There are mushrooms to make you go faster for a power boost, Bowser shells to trip up opponents, bloopers, which are squids to ink your opponents, banana peels or skins to make your opponents slip, like a magic star to make you invincible, and special moves created for each character. And examples are Mario and Luigi have fireballs, Donkey and Diddy Kong have their giant bananas, Bowser and Bowser Jr. have the Bowser Koopa shells, Peach and Daisy have hearts, and Wario and Waluigi have bombs. There are 21 carts in total. Each cart, there is a normal go-kart and there is a character-based go-kart. In each cart there is 2 characters, 1 drives and 1 throws the objects. The 2 characters are picked by the controller and doesn't have to be the same character. An example is Mario and Luigi. When I was playing the game, I was driving either recklessly or effortlessly. I was driving Yoshi on the beach and I was driving waywardly. When I was driving on the figure 8 circuit, I crashed into chain chomps very badly. Oops. Greg was winning while I was driving awful. Same happened when I was on the dirt tracks. I disappeared into a black hole, bashed into the pikeys and loads of other things, and Greg was winning and just totally owned me. When I was on the other circuit, I bashed into a load of other obstacles and objects, but when I was on the last circuit I did rather well. Fish fifth? Yeah? The course was rather easy to drive because the course was in an easy shape to drive around. I thought when I was playing the game I did rather well, even though 8th place wasn't the best highlight of the game. It was quite entertaining to watch me fail. Greg won overall. I was in 5th after some nice cool displays shown from driving my vehicle.
The next game we're going to talk about is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door was released for the GameCube in 2004. What's interesting about this game is its visual style, because a lot of the things in the game are 2D, but the environments are 3D. The game starts off with Mario receiving a letter and a treasure map from Princess Peach, but soon finds out that Peach has actually gone missing. What Mario has to do is collect 7 crystal stars throughout the game, and he must use these crystal stars to locate the secret treasure. As you progress through the game, you will find out who has actually kidnapped Princess Peach, and you will also find out what the secret treasure actually is. What you have to do in this game is you battle many different enemies in an RPG style of battling, which makes this game different compared to a lot of Mario games where you just mostly stomp on the enemies. What you would do in these battles is you and your enemy takes turns on attacking each other, and you must try and get each other's HP, which is hit points, to 0. A lot of the battles can be pretty easy, but there are some that may require a bit more thinking because some attacks may not work on some characters. Mario starts off with moves such as jumping and using the hammer. He wouldn't be able to use his jump move on spiky enemies, for example. As well as attacking enemies, you can also use items that you've picked up along the way to attack the enemies. For example, you have the fire flower, in which you can use to shoot fireballs at your enemies. As you progress through the game, you'll meet several different characters that will join your team and can be useful to use in your battles. Also, some of these characters can also be useful to outside the battle, and they can help you solve puzzles that you wouldn't solve without them. As you progress through, you will find that Mario will level up as he keeps battling the different enemies, and when he does level up, you will need to choose which area he becomes stronger. You may choose for him to have more hit points, or you may choose to increase his FP, which is firepower capacity, which is what Mario and your party characters need to use to perform certain attacks. Another very important element you will come across as you play in this game is something called badges. Badges are these power-ups you will come across that can increase the damage that certain attacks can do. They can also make Mario and your party character stronger. There's a very large amount of badges in the game, and they all do different things, so it's best to read their description when you find one to see if they're any good to you or not. A very good thing about this game is that it's going to give you plenty of playtime because it has a long storyline and the chapters in this game can take a long time to go through. You'll come across some very difficult enemies through the game and that's going to give you even more playtime. You are probably looking at around 25 hours to complete this game, but this depends on the pace you play the game. Otherwise it may take a lot longer and you may end up nearly doubling that time. Not only is this game long, but it has loads of replayability because you may want to increase your stats in a different way, or you may want to use different badges which would cause you to play differently. This is an excellent game overall. We hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope some of these games featured in this video would have grabbed your interest to play them if you've not played them before.
We hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.